Oh. Cool. Is it Lacey?
Yes.
Oh. Hey guys, you can now hear me. I hope the slides were thoughtful, and unfortunately you got to see everyone's mime of their 30-second commercial. My tech guy isn't here today, so I had to figure it out myself, and that's what happens when you don't have your tech guy here. So thank you, Lacey. Okay, so number 7 is measurable results. So we talked about email marketing has the highest ROI out of any marketing. The neat thing about email is there's a lot of metrics you can measure, and we'll go through some of those, but things like open rates and click-through rates, and even the system that some of us are using now, as of yesterday, you can actually track revenue generated from email, which is amazing. So imagine for Desiree.
Never see that a lot.
Okay.
We're able to track all that, like whether they open it, if they just see it, whether they open it, and it's now pulling in, hey, you made this much money from sending that email. So you're like, so we can see like, oh, we sent it on this day around that time, we get a lot more feedback here versus, this day at that time, we didn't really get anything. So it is cool to be able to see that too.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you've got a very low cost way to get in front of a lot of people to build brand trust, build authority, promote your products and services. And for that, like that's so important, especially with like a product-based company. So Desiree owns Like Minded Nutrition right down the street, amazing supplement company. And so if someone got an email and it said, hey, we've got our new Astroflave peanut butter and chocolate protein powder that I just ran out of, and I need to go buy some more from you.
Got it.
Awesome. And they got that email and they clicked on it and they actually went to the website. And sometimes it can even do if it's a purchase later. Like I didn't buy it right away. Like I had it open in my browser and I left to go do networking and hang out. I slept, I forgot, I come back and then I purchase it. It's still going to trigger you. Hey, that email triggered a transaction, which is amazing because then we can say, hey, this low cost way of getting in front of people just because I had email address is now directly responsible for revenue generation, which is huge. But usually when you're doing email marketing, you track impressions, which is just how many people it got in front of or how many people it sent. And then you can see how many people actually opened it. Sometimes email clients can be tricky because everyone's on, whether it's Outlook or Google or Spark. So all those are sending data back, but you can track opens, you can track clicks, you can track bounces, you can track unsubscribe, you can track marked as spam, and you look for patterns. So if you have like an email chain of like which emails are actually getting opened, read, and clicked, which emails are getting marked as spam, which ones are getting seen and not opened or opened and not clicked. And you start to build these patterns and seeing what your audience is actually responding to. Instead of just guessing, being like, I'm just sitting down a bunch of crap and hoping it works, you can actually start to learn what's working and not working with those results. And number 8 is building a community. So how many of you guys get emails from like an author or a speaker or a thought leader or a coach? Yeah. And would you say that those emails help build some sort of community where you feel like you're kind of a part of what they're doing and what they're building? A lot of times, and I've heard this from even just recently, like, Brad, you send out way too many emails, and I probably do. But when you're in that zone and you're subscribing to a coach, they're trying to pull you into their world and build into a community. And so if your business is on the same mission to say it's more just about transactional customers, we care about long-term relationships, which you should all care about because that's lifetime value of a client, right? It's like, we don't want that one transaction. Mary wants people to come back and continue to buy from her, right? You don't want them to buy like one thing of lotion and be gone. No. So I know we got to keep her in our Cadillac. Yes.
I think it's also part of that. I do get a lot of emails from you, but also I read them. I like the content, and it's also like it wasn't the right time for my company to switch, but when it is, I know exactly who to call, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing that it could be. I got a coach that sends me a lot of things to do all the time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, a lot, but it's a give and take. I think trying to find the right how much
No, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I think for a lot of us that are used to receiving an abundance of emails, like, I subscribe to a lot of authors and coaches and thought leaders, and I could get 2 to 3 emails a day from them. And so I'm conditioned to have lots of incoming, which Brad Ball says is probably way too much. Yeah. But so whenever you're trying to build that community, just remember you're trying to pull people into your world. And a lot of that is through storytelling. So if you hear guys like Russell Brunson, he talks a lot about doing your story, like inviting people into your story, how you started, all these things. It can be a little overkill, but I would think about your business and your community you're trying to build and how you can pull people in there where it's less of just a transaction and more of that relationship. Because the more people care, the more they're going to trust you. And they're going to want to work with you. And they're also going to spend more. That's right. Yes, Mary.
So one of the things this Mary Kay does some of mine for me. And one of the things we do, we have categories so that somebody is like, once a quarter is great playing with the content I get, they get to be there. And it's like, no, I want these 5 tips. And they get to be on that one.
Yes.
So we actually level
That's good.
how many emails by their perspective. And of course, they can change their mind, but it's also a way that, you hit me 3 times a day on unsubscribe because how much I like you.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden I'm at a stage where I need a lot of stuff from you, okay, well, so we allow, it's just one of those things that as we're controlling our list, we also might want to think of ways to be able to scale those emails.
Absolutely. And there's a really good strategy too, where you can have like segmented lists and categories. So it's like, hey, if you don't want to get this kind of email anymore, just click here. So instead of like a, ignition of destroy everything forever and take me off your list completely, it's like, I really don't want to hear about lotion tips anymore. That's cool. I'm still going to send you makeup tips lotion probably doesn't have any tips, right? That's a pretty easy.
Well, actually, if you guys haven't heard, sorry, it's not this bandwagon. There's a new study out that's saying looking at your phone or your computer screen, the blue light that's coming off of that is more dangerous to your skin than being outside without sunscreen. And so the purpose of sunscreen is not just for going to the beach. And so, yes, there's actually a lot of and you can have people that can totally be cut on that. And
But see, that would be a really great tip. So when we talk about that high value content, yes, Facebook post, absolutely. Because I've never heard that. I'm sure none of us in here.
I'm not sure. I know SharpSpring had this, but we switched to Google Level with you guys. So there's this concept of avatar. When you define who your avatar is and you know what they're looking for, you have dynamic content boxes. And so a lot of times these emails that will come through will have a box, depending on what avatar you're sending it to, each of them will see a different message. I'm not sure if that's in SharpSpring yet or not, but I'm sure go high level yet or not. I'm sure it's coming though.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to be with SharpSpring too.
Yeah, I jumped as soon as they sold it.
Yeah, concept. Yeah. Okay, number 9 is increasing customer retention. So this is the idea of keeping people around. Just like we talked about, when you get a customer, it is so much more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain. More expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to just reactivate a past customer. So the idea is, how can you retain a customer longer? So if you send high value content that helps them know you, like you, trust you more, remind them why they're doing business with you, and continue to give them valuable tips and insights, they're going to stick with you a lot longer, right? If Desiree's emails that go out to our current customers give tips about, hey, whether you're training for a marathon or you're doing CrossFit or these different things, and it's helped providing tips that align her product with the lifestyle that people are in, they're going to see you as not just the product expert, but the lifestyle expert of people that are training for these things. And it's going to give you a lot more credibility when people come in. They're like, hey, I'm training for this thing. What do you recommend? And that's a great way to do customer retention. Okay, so this is the tips I told you about. So we're done with those 9. And you guys will all get the replay of this. And luckily it will be silent, so you don't have to hear my voice for the first half of it. So what in the world do we write about? So here is a quick way to come up with content that will last you at least 2 months just to get you a head start. So the first step is just list out 10 things that you get asked all the time about your business. So think about the customers you work with. What are the top questions that they're asking you? Number 2 is you're going to write content about how you solve each of those specific problems. And this is really simple, guys. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. Number 3 is you're just going to turn each of those answers into part of your newsletter. And that's not going to be the entire newsletter, but that's going to be a good chunk of it. So you already know what the common issues are that customers have, the common questions. You're turning those into valuable insights that you know people want to read because they're already asking you about it. And then you're going to send out 1 time a week to your list, and that's going to create you 2 months of great content. So if you schedule it, and I would say stay consistent on your schedule. If you say, hey, on like Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Fridays, I'm going to send out this newsletter. Or if you want to say, that's once a week. If you want to do 2 a week or 1 a week or once a month, it's all up to you on the cadence you want to do. But this gives you really good starts to content. And just remember that it's less about you and more about your dream customer and client. What problem are they solving? Or your client's client, what problem are they trying to solve for their dream customer or client? And that in itself is going to change the game. That's the epiphany moment when you can really flip the script and not make it about yourself and make it about someone else. That changes the game. And then here's like easy 1, 2, 3. Like if you're creating email marketing, here's the 3 big areas of how you want to lay it out. At the very top, and I'm going to show you an example, you want to have just a nice visual logo graphic. So your logo, a graphic, something engaging that makes them actually want to read it, that's attractive. The second thing is that high value content. So you're going to pull them into a story. Remember, stories sell, guys, like crazy. They would much rather hear it in the story version than it is just only bullet points or something that feels very non-engaging. And then finally, at the end, it's, hey, how can they engage with you? Right? So if Sales Geek is sending out really great sales tips, then at the end, it's like, hey, if you want help, jump into a free consultation or download our 3-step quick start guide to start getting better sales. You're always calling them to an action at the end of that. A lot of people miss the boat and they just send out content and they don't have that little thing at the end to be like, what's the next step? What's the next step? Because the second they're ready to engage, you want to make it easy for them to, boom, where do I go? And then, so this is just like a simple visual one that we did. So like when we send out our weekly BAM newsletters, so this is Embracing Growth and Resilience, a guide for the new year. So it's got like logo, graphic, great high value content. And then at the end, we talk about a few of the things that we're doing to try to pull them in.
Brad, I'm looking at the dimensions of your graphics up there. So are you building this to be viewed on a phone?
Both phone and desktop. Yeah, it scales. So most everything web-based now is dynamic. So it's very fluid. So whether it's tablet, phone, anything, it'll optimize the size for it. Responsive, there you go. Yeah, responsive, dynamic, fluid. And so this is an example real quick of some of the stats to track. So again, when you have a good system, and I'll show you kind of some examples at the end of a few that you can use. This is where you can see, successful delivery. How many got delivered? Orange is how many got opened of that. So this is like 98.6 got delivered, almost 30% got opened, 1% got clicked. If there's any conversions on it, if any were a soft bounce versus hard bounce versus unsubscribed. So it gives you great analytics of what's actually going on with these emails. Yep.
This is where you guys need Brad, okay? Brad's not telling you, if you get less than 3% of this, over 3% of this is inaccurate, you're gonna get a black mark. All right, so you need professionals. So we can teach you how to do this stuff all day, but at the end of the day, it's your company, it's your reputation, your client. And so you want to keep it really clean. You only get a certain amount of strikes before you end up having to set up on a different URL or get outside because you got blacklisted or something like that.
Yeah.
And the platform that we're working with here is 3%, which to me seems extremely high. But that means out of 100, you can only have 3 misspellings, basically.
Yeah, and luckily, so the tool that we work with too, it does, you can verify email addresses. So if you happen to import a bulk bunch, and you're like, I don't know if these are crap or good or real or fake, you can check them all, push a button, and it will say real, not real, real, not real. So before you send, you can actually like scrub it and make sure you get all the fake ones out of there. Yeah, these are just important numbers to look at. You know, how many conversions you had, if an email turned into a sale. As of like just a day or two ago, the system we're using can actually track like revenue, like there was a sale and it was for this much if they bought something from your website or funnel or page. And I just want to encourage you guys too, this is something to think about is, you know, you have to plan your work and then work your plan, or work you plan if you misspell it. But what's important to know here is in the age of like automation and AI, like we use AI all the time, our system is powered by a lot of AI, but that does not mean there's not hard work and focus involved to make this work. I think sometimes that word AI gives us permission to think like, oh, cool. So I just set it and forget it. It's easy. Like, why aren't these things moving or closing or why aren't my emails going out? I'd be like, oh, I actually had to create an email. Like, yes, you still have to do the work, but the work you're doing is important work to help you hit the goals you're going to hit, right? I think you'd agree, like in sales, it's the same thing. Like there's no shortcut to having a great culture of sales, keeping it going. There's not like an AI robot. You just haven't turned on the right AI robot yet, right? It's still takes a lot of work. So how many of you guys have some sort of email marketing tool right now? Yeah. So most of us do. Here's a couple like ones that you've probably heard of, like MailChimp, you know, is $350 a month, and MailChimp's been around for a long time. They recently got acquired by Intuit. Constant Contact, you've all heard of. It's been around for a while. So I just want to give you some comparisons here. So this is, you know, these are great tools to use. We use one that is part of Genie Rocket. So a lot of the guys in here are also using it kind of under different names. It's on a big operational system that is amazing. And over 1 million businesses are actually powered by it. It's growing like crazy. And it does some of this email marketing too. So if you have not started email marketing, I would love to invite you on the journey. And we've actually pared it down. So we've got like lots of different tiers and offerings for our full service solution that some of you guys are on, and it's awesome. You can build funnels on it. You can do like managed social media. It's truly all in one. For those of you that just want to start, kind of just dip your toe in the water and say, hey, I know that I need to be doing email marketing and I'm not, and I want to get started with it. We're doing something unique now. So if you want to get started on the email marketing part, we're doing $97 a month. And it's going to give you kind of the basic way where you can send out beautiful emails. So drag and drop email builder, you can schedule them out. It's a really, really great tool. It's what we use for all of our emails. And it's a very basic CRM. So it's got all your contacts in one place. You can upload your list, send to the list, a little web chat widget you can actually put on your website for communication. Do some really basic text marketing so you can get your phone number through the system. But this is a great way just to dip your toe in the water in email. And then we're also just going to help you just set up a basic template with your brand. So we're going to make sure that you're, you know, set up correctly on here, and you get your first template ready to go with your logo, kind of the area that you just want to start sending out emails on, so you can give it a try. And if that's something that's interesting to you, this is the QR code. You can sign up for it, and I'm actually going to help you just get set up on it, send out your first email, show you how it works, and show you what metrics to track. Those of you that are already on Genie Rocket, I'll help you out with this too. Just shoot me an email and we can work on getting your first email campaign kind of dialed in and set up. But if you're not using email marketing, or you want to try something new and different and better, I'd love to invite you into this opportunity to do it, because I think especially starting in the new year, new season, this is a great time to start trying new things to get different, better results for your business. Yeah, and I'd love to hear any questions. I know we got a lot of marketers in the room, so I'll say questions or comments overall on email marketing experiences you guys have had from it. Any success stories?
I had a client who's in the system last week, guys. They had overwhelming success rate, 70% open rate on something like this for the first time, which is amazing. and for the price, I mean, think about what clients work to you. It's a really good deal he's offering you here. So you get one client off your list, it's gotta be worth more than the investment you make.
Yeah, email marketing's good.
Question, do you know, like on the click rate status, let's say I have like spam, I don't know what it's called, like the spyware blocker,
Mhm.
do those things click for them? It's like, on mine, I get a lot of, I can hear them opening, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of people opening my email and clicking on it. Is that something that they're actually doing, or is that somebody's, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is that how do we tell?
That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's the bot.
I think it's actual clicks.
Yeah.
I do know what's neat.
Nothing on your, I'm saying on.
Yeah, so on the spy, yeah.
But, so I didn't know if we could tell that on an open rate, is that? 'cause I wanna
Oh,
make
if
sure
it's
that
automatically
we're-
getting
Is
opened.
it truly them opening the emails, or are they?
It's funny that you're looking at it that way, because we're looking at the same thing, but from the unsubscribe or spam.
Mhm.
We're trying to differentiate, because we have several people that they've unsubscribed, but then they did it, so. We're trying to figure out how that's happening.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of variables because you're mobile, you're not mobile, you might be on this device or that device. Are we running the same browsers? There's just a lot of variables to keep track of that. And so if you're hearing a click, I would imagine that's not model, that's actually.
And is there a difference between someone sending in their preview? Is that considered an open? Or?
No, I think it has to be fully open. So if it's like the hard press pop, I don't think that counts as open. I think it has to be.
Okay, I'm just checking because sometimes, on a different one, I haven't tested yours yet.
Uh-huh.
On the other one, I can tell you that a preview count,
It did count.
it did count.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can measure is the duration that they looked at. So if you're getting several 1 second, I think that's gonna say, oh yeah, that's probably the bomb. Whereas if it's anywhere from 7 seconds to 2 minutes, you know you got a person.
Right.
And some of the neat things you can do, kind of on the advanced tier, is there's things called trigger links, which are incredible. So you can actually program a link to say if they click this, then automatically even send them a text. So it's been a lot easier if you remove friction. Like for example, if you want people to show up to your event, and you say, hey, if you want to come to my event, it's completely free. When you click the button below, that's all you need to do. If you already have the information, just click here and you'll be in the event. So when they click it, it automatically gives them a tag, puts them in a category, sends them a text message saying you're in, and they get redirected to a landing page that says, hey, here's all the details you need to know. Like they don't have to fill out a form.
I actually put time with them on this technology side while he was giving his presentation.
Yeah, so what's neat is, and I had a picture up here, but I went through it. So a couple of you guys experienced this at the networking event I was just at. I have another app, so I just scan business cards, and the business card data automatically gets loaded into Genie Rocket, and it creates them as a contact, and then it sends them a text. And it says, hey, it's Brad, so nice to meet you. Here's my contact info. It attaches as like a VCF card, sends an email with the same thing. Then it waits. So I need to have it wait longer, but you can have it wait like an hour and then say, hey, I forgot to mention, I'd love to do a one-on-one with you. Would you like to grab time on my calendar? And with this text, it can actually read your calendar without them having to go to a link.
Are you using the same system for all of that, not third party, the card readers not doing that?
So the card reader, I've got to use Zapier
Okay.
with like Business Connect.
Okay.
But it works awesome because you can literally just be like, pop, and it goes name, email, phone number, sends it to the system sends the text. Pulls, yeah. No, but that's good. And so here's the deal too, guys. If you're doing any marketing, like if you're doing Facebook lead form ads or other marketing and you're getting lots of leads, but you're not getting a lot of sales, one, you need to talk to Sales Geek. They'll help you with that. And two, don't dismiss the power of building that list, because the money is in the list. If you talk to any, like us marketing guys that have been around for a while, like the money isn't in the list is a big thing, meaning the people in that list have the money and they're probably just not buying yet. But like I told you guys stories, I closed one deal that was a big 5-figure deal that was just off sending an email, and he'd been on my list for a year and hadn't responded to anything. And one email caught his attention, and he was like, "Hey, we need to chat." And that immediately turned into like a check the following week. But if I ignored emailing him and keeping me on the list, and I was like, this guy's never gonna buy, or I'm just gonna clean out my list, I would have missed that opportunity. So when you're building that list, it is incredibly important to always keep your customer data, lead data, like networking events, right? Like collect that information and always lead with high value content. But that's it, guys. So we'll open this up. You guys feel free to hang out as long as you want to network, chat. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate it. And we do this every other Friday. And so if you guys want to get reminders for this, I think most of you.
First and third.
What's that?
First and third Friday.
Yes.
Or does it, I guess it switches when you get a fifth.
Yeah. So we have it all set up. You cannot read my handwriting, but if you go to bamrsvp.com and you just put in your email, the system will automatically send just reminders of when our next one is. And please bring friends. I mean, this is fun when it's filled like this, right? Lots of energy, great people. I've heard someone say to me that I believe in the quality of your business is directly tied to the quality of your relationships. And the people in here, like I've met and known almost all of you, some newer and some older, but this is great people in here. So make sure you guys take the time too to connect with each other and invite other smart entrepreneurs like yourselves here too. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.